I'm Megan Mitchell. This is my co-host, John Morrison, and you are listening to the True North Racing Podcast.
Time to strap in, pull those belts, and get ready for an action-packed episode of the True North Racing Podcast. Are you ready to unmask? Unhelmet your favorite racers? Get ready for the most fun you'll have outside the racetrack to get you ready for the next race. You're listening to John Morrison and Megan Mitchell, and this is the True North Racing Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to this week of the True North Racing Podcast, presented by Driving with Haley. I'm your host, John Morrison. This week is episode 144, and we got a real treat for you guys on this week's episode. We have Samantha Shaw joining us, also known as Sam. She joins us this week to talk about her pro late model racing career up at Sunset Speedway. I'm going to be honest, guys. I already had chatted with her before doing this. Ran out of time beforehand to really get my intro in. But we had a lot of fun chatting with her. And you guys are going to hear all about that in a little bit here. But let's get into this week's Peps Pro painting opening segment. As you guys know, I traveled this week up to Sauble Speedway for Ty Cavalin's a day at the races. And we had a blast. I'm still shocked. The car count, for what you get paid out there, I feel like the car count should be higher. For anyone who doesn't know, it is $2,000 to win at Sauble Speedway. If you get more than 10 cars, you go to heat races and then a 30-lap feature to win $2,000. It is Sauble does a great job. It's a great track to race at. Last night we had Tom Gibbons sweeping both features, Ty Cavalin with a second and third, Caden Wright with a second and third. It was we saw great battles all night long throughout the field, in every division too. When I got a chance to go up and actually watch on the fence or up in the grandstands, there was tons of great racing all over the board. For a heat win, I saw Sean Taylor and Will Gibbons battle it out. At one point they swapped high side to low side, and a few laps later they swapped high side to low side. But Sean can make that outside line work really well to get the runoff and was able to take over the win in one of the heats. But Doug Butler went out there, showed us what he can do in that 10 car. It looked like he dominated most of that feature, I think. I ran down to finish up my day at the races vlog with Ty Cavalin. So I didn't get a chance to catch all of it. But when I did get up there, Doug was out front. I think there was like 2, maybe 3 cautions in that entire race. So it wasn't terrible. It was pretty good, actually. Couple small incidences, nothing too major. But overall, the racing was pretty good. The Roots Gaspar United 8s were also on hand. They did a pretty good job as well. The Bone Stocks, they put on great racing. Brandon Feeney was driving one of the Campground Crew Racing 81 and 82 team. Bone Stock, he was driving the 81 last night. He finished third in both heats and third in the feature. He had a hell of a run. Super proud of the kid. Super proud of the guy. He's done amazing. He's driven everything. Last night was actually his first night at Sauble Speedway. Like I said, he did a hell of a job there. Really showed us what he could do in behind the wheel of a race car. He kicked butt in my opinion. But he raised quite a bit of money for charity, which is good. I didn't get a final total today, so tune into the Feeney call to see what he ended up with. I'm sure he'll talk about this week on his show. But yeah, it was nice going up to Sauble. It's one of those things. Sauble is such a nice little getaway town. that when we go up there, we actually stayed at the racetrack last night, which was awesome. Waking up and the racetrack was right there. That was right there. It was kind of surreal, if I'm going to be honest with you guys. And then we packed up. We headed to the beach for a little bit. Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry, y'all. Yeah, we went over to the beach for a little bit. We had a blast. Played in the water. We got on the road about 1 quarter to 2. We got home at 4:30 ish. So it's been a long day. I haven't really gotten much online to do to get some stuff done, but we will be getting some stuff posted this week. You guys will see a lot of footage coming from us. We're gonna have a day at the races. We're gonna have the full version. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There's an announcement coming soon, um, about a day at the races, so stay tuned. Um, but yeah, it was so it's such a well, I love going to Sawble. It's such a nice track, great racing. The crowd last night was fantastic. Uh, there was a few giveaways. Phil Givens won his 80th career race last weekend, and this week he came out and gave away his flag to a fan. Now they did ask a question, but the problem was that they never told us what the answer was. They acted as if we all heard it, but we never did. So Phil, Nicole, if you guys are listening to this, if you guys want to let me know where was Phil's first career win, that'd be great. I thought it was Delaware from the hint y'all gave, but clearly I was wrong. So yeah, if you guys want to let me know, that'd be great. Uh, then Jim was going throughout the crowd handing out t-shirts that were graciously donated by the Campground Crew Racing Team, which was awesome. And I saw Ryder White walking through the crowd. Brandon Feeney, damn it, I don't. Yes, I do. Hold on 1 second. Brandon Feeney ended up walking throughout the crowd, handing out some of the hero cards. And if you can guess who did it was pretty cool. But yeah, we he was out there. He was handing out hero cards. Who else did I see out there? I saw another driver. Who did I see? Oh my God, I'm sorry for anyone who knew that there was another racer out there. I'm sorry that I'm forgetting who it was, but the one thing I love about Sauble is the fan accessibility they have to like the driver accessibility. If there is a driver who's over there, can make it over to the grandstands, it's great to see drivers walking through. Sauble, Sunset, Peterborough, they all have easy access points where a driver can go up into the grandstands during intermission, during a break in action or whatever, and hand out hero cards, go talk to fans, and just be present. It's fantastic when you see it happen. Um, I've seen it. I've seen Sunset do it. I've seen Sauble do it. Drivers at Sauble. That's what I like to see. I want to see that. Keep it up, guys. The more fan involvement we get, the more those people might come back week in and week out, even if they only come up once, maybe twice. That's once or twice more than they would if they didn't have an interaction that left a positive on them or their family. So keep that in mind. Um, Picked up myself a new hat last night. I finally got my uh 2 Speed Nationals hat. Campground Crew was having them over in their tent. Finally picked mine up. Excited to have, excited to wear it, excited to show it off tonight on the show. Um, but yeah, honestly, it was kind of funny because I was wearing my last night. We had Sam Shaw on as you guys know, but last night she was competing in the Junior Hanley Classic up at Sunset. I didn't plan on having this shirt on today, but I ended up wearing it, which is kind of funny. That I did have it on tonight, so it was great. Like it was, uh, Jordan House wins the junior second annual Junior Canley Classic up at Sunset. Um, we've been seeing. I saw Mike Thompson get back to victory lane. Joe Media driver Mike Thompson get back to victory lane. Mike Gilmore also picked up a win. Caitlin Wallace swept or not swept, but she picked up both two podium finishes, finishing P3 in both mini stock races. Um, that's been the extent of what I've seen so far on social media. I've kind of stayed off it for the most part today. I've posted a couple things, but it was just like I posted a picture of the beach, I posted a picture of the racetrack at the same time, and saying it's all about balance because it is. Like we gotta remember we sometimes we work on Saturdays, but we gotta be able to have some fun on the weekend as well before we go back to our day jobs. Because I don't do this full time. I would love to do this full time. I have 3 or 4 show ideas that would keep me busy. I'm hoping to get the funding that we need to be able to make that happen. Uh, so if anyone would like to partner with Joe Media Promotions, please feel free to reach out. Um, before we get into this week's episode with Sam Shaw, let's have a quick word. Let's talk about let's get into this week's Driving with Haley vehicle spotlight. Let's see what this week's vehicle is. This week's Driving with Haley vehicle spotlight, we got a 2022 Ford Explorer with only 52,252 kilometers. That's only 25,000 kilometers a year, guys. That is a pretty good low mileage vehicle, and it could be in your driveway right now. This Explorer is a 4-wheel drive, seat 6. It has an intercooled turbo premium unleaded inline 4-cylinder 2.3 liter. It's 4 doors. It has cooled seats, leather interior, third row seating, GPS navigation, adaptive cruise control, park assist, power passenger seat, and heated steering wheel. If you guys are looking for a beautiful looking ride such as this, it's perfect for the family. You get you to and from hockey practice, lots of space, lots of room, beautiful interior. If you guys are looking for a ride like this, contact Haley Hill at Driving with Haley. You guys can find her on Facebook at Driving with Haley. You guys can also give her a shout at 289-808-2828. You guys can also email her at hhill@rightride.ca. If you do not like the vehicles we are showing you, contact Haley. She can find you the vehicle you guys are looking for at an affordable price. She helped me get into my Dodge Caravan that I've been rocking for the past 2 years. It is a great ride. Love it. Give Haley a call. She can help you out. Doesn't matter if you got good credit, bad credit, whatever the situation is. She can help you. That's what she's there for. So find her on Facebook at Driving with Haley. You guys can also call her at 289-808-2828 or email her at hhill@rightride.ca. Now let's get into this week's episode of the True North Racing Podcast presented by Driving with Haley in our graphic design studio guest segment. This week in our graphic design studio guest segment, we are joined by the driver of the number 82 Pro Late model over at Sunset Speed. We got Samantha Shaw. Sam, how are you?
I'm good. Little tired after yesterday, but no, we had a really good day today, so I'm good. How was Sobel for you?
Sauble was awesome as per usual. They had the Pro Lates there last night as well. 6 cars showed up. Lots of great action. Got a couple good shots with my GoPro, so I'm happy about that.
Perfect.
How did the Junior Hanley Classic go last night for you?
Honestly, not as good as I wanted it to, but as I keep kind of saying, I kind of set the bar pretty high last year, so pretty hard to top that. I mean, I was second fastest in our final practice. I don't normally show speed in practice, so that was kind of amazing. Qualifying, not my forte, has not been my forte since I got into late models. Um, and then just the race, I don't know. I think like the pace was a lot more than what I thought it was going to be, given how many laps we had to do. Um, and talking to others who were kind of in the same area of the field, like they kind of said the same thing. So I got up to I think it was like fifth or sixth, then I got spun, which sucked, and that pretty much took the wind out of our sails. Car was fine, little bit of body damage, nothing catastrophic. It just yeah, I just couldn't fight back from that after we had to pit and fix the bit of damage. So unfortunate, but I think the car was a little bit better than it has been the rest of this year. So I think we're making progress finally.
I mean, that's a good thing. You want to see progress, right?
I mean, yeah, like the biggest thing is like the majority of the field that was there yesterday is the field I run with weekly. Like Sunset is no joke for their pro late models. And really the division itself is no joke anywhere, but like Gordy, House, Baker, Billy, Zardo when he shows up, like that, and that's just 5 cars. And they're all phenomenal. So like I'm not racing with anybody who's not knowing what they're doing.
Yeah. I,
So
I was gonna say Sunset, Sunset and Delaware are the two tracks that have some of the best late model drivers in Ontario. Great fields week in and week out.
yeah.
You're getting, I want to say 14 to 15 cars a week, I think at Sunset ish.
Um, I mean, we were, and then Dale had his issue, and then Corey had his issue. So we're losing a few, but I mean, the on-track product we had though, like I I like the streaming. I like when there's video because I wish more people could see the races that are being put on at Sunset.
Oh yeah.
Like last week, not the Hanley, but the week before, like Corey, Ricky, and Jordan were 3 wide for the lead multiple times. Like, and it was nice and clean. They did end up getting together at one point, but it was just phenomenal racing. And then the week before, or was it the week after? I don't get to see these things. I'm still in the race. It's just my guys telling me,
Yeah.
like Jordan and Dustin finished the race side by side, and we're swapping the lead the whole race, all 50 laps.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I was there
kind
for
of
that
racing
one.
we have every week, and it's like our regular nights are just as exciting as the big nights,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
wild.
So July 6th was my first night out at Sunset. I was there with Roy Wilkie in his super stock, and I saw two great finishes. There was Connor Maltese and Johnny Morrison
Yep,
in the
honor to the
super
all.
stocks heat race. Coming to a heat race, Connor goes high, Johnny comes underneath.
Yep,
Oh, beautiful finish.
yep,
Pro late model race. Lap cars helped. Let's be real. Let's be real. Lap cars helped Jordan get to the inside there,
he did.
but but still, Jordan and Dustin put on a clinic
Yep,
of good, hard, clean racing, coming to the line side by side.
yep,
Sunset does produce some of the best racing
yep.
in Ontario. I don't know if it's the banking that allows the two that you don't really. It doesn't seem like you lose a lot on the high side,
You don't.
but but it seems like over a period of run you start to.
Um,
Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm only seeing what I've seen in person. And it hasn't been a lot, unfortunately. I go to Flamborough, I go to Sauble, I go to a lot of flatter tracks than Sunset.
Sunset's big thing actually that it has over other tracks is actually the amount of wear it puts on the tires in the car. Um, I mean, we've been running in colder temps, so it's not as aggressive as it could be when we run at night and it's cooled off. But in the day, like you at the end, I don't know about those who won the race, but me and the guys at the back, like by lap 150, you're lucky if you're quarter throttle.
Oh,
If you're any more than that, you're drifting. Like that's just it beats the crap out of the tires in the car. As far as lane choice on a restart, front row you want high. Any further back, it's kind of luck of the draw.
yeah.
Depends how well what your car is doing. So like we have to choose. I always tell my team whatever line's shorter. I don't care whatever line's shorter. They're always even, so it's just a guessing game. But you'll find like more often than not, yes, the outside line will roll for the first couple of laps. Then the inside line, once the tires come back up, they've got the grip. Once they get in a rhythm, they'll roll.
Yeah.
You can run either lane. It just depends what your car's doing that day for you. The fast way around is the bottom. but you're not gonna lose tons on the top. It's not like Flamborough.
Yeah.
So
But to be fair, we've seen a lot of people make that high side work at Flamborough.
I mean,
There's been a few good. David Elliott's one of them.
right, but how long
Yeah.
ago was that?
Oh, I know. We're going back a long ways here. I'm starting to show my age a little bit. Okay, I get it. I get
Like,
it.
I remember plenty of races watching Jay do that. Like he ran the high side at Flamborough like nobody else. I loved watching him do it. But these cars are so much faster now.
Oh, are they ever?
Like it's wild. Like I talked to Blair after the AP both APC races at Flamborough, and all like Eric Jr., all of our guys said it was 100 qualifying laps. You are
Yeah.
flat out in these cars, and that's a
It's
lot.
so crazy from 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah. And like these cars, they're just so complex and so particular. But yeah, like Flamborough, I haven't seen, I shouldn't say that. Last couple of years at the front of the APC races, I think this one was Gemmel and Steckley. They had
Yeah.
a pretty good side by side. Like there's been a few, but they don't usually last.
They can't last 15, 25, 30 laps.
It's 5 laps at most. Then they're gonna single out
If
and they'll figure it out.
if you're lucky or whoever hits the wall first.
Correct. So like, yeah. I mean, Sobel, I'm actually really excited for the boys to go to Sobel. They're gonna have that'll be a good show with the ABC boys.
Absolutely. They put on even the guys who were there last night put on a great show. And I know the cars are completely different, but the mini stocks there put on a hell of a battle. And we seen Sean Taylor work that outside line very well.
Yes,
Um,
Sobel's got a great outside line.
oh my God, it's unreal how flat it is, but it works in your advantage. It sucks getting into it, but if you
Yep.
can make that center off work,
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun there in the mini. I ran a couple of the invitationals, obviously before I jumped to late models, and
Yeah.
I had a ball, and we could run either lane. It was great fun. Like the last one I ran was that they had the huge, I don't remember what they called it, but like we had 30 cars, like me and Steckley and all like it was a ridiculous field. We had so much fun. It was such a good show. But yeah, Sauble produces great racing.
Oh yeah. Um, it's good when we got tracks in Ontario that do produce really good racing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had my family was up from the States this weekend. My cousin ran with us and the Hanley yesterday, and that was the first time he'd seen sunset.
Oh
Um,
really?
yeah, yeah, he's run Flamborough, but all his racing's been in the States. So for him to see sunset, finally see what I call my home, that was pretty cool. I asked him a couple times, like, "Oh, you're having fun yet?" And he's like, "I don't know, not sure." So, I mean, yeah, like we've been chatting today. He did have fun. It was his first time back in the late model, and I don't know how many years. It's been a long while.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it was really cool.
Well, we're gonna shift gears a little bit here because the one fun thing we love to do on the show is learn about the people that we have on. Um, because no one cares about the guy who's on this side of the mic. They care about the person that's on that side of the mic. Um, so do you prefer Sam or Samantha?
Sam,
I gotta know.
Sam.
Sam? Okay. Because I know it's Samantha. I know but like there's some people who are I'm John, but I'm also Jonathan. But if
Yeah,
you call me Jonathan, I'm in trouble.
that's exactly how I am. It's the same thing.
John, unless I'm in trouble, short form it. So, Sam, you come from a very a racing rich family
Yep,
in the sense you guys are, I think, what, two or three generations deep in racing, if not more. You can tell me. I know of two or three ish.
great.
Three. There we go. Uh, how obviously with that kind of background, bound to get in racing in some capacity, one form or another. How did little Sam get into racing?
So I get like I never ran karts. That was never a thing. You know, I grew up, we followed the All-Star Tour around. So I went to all the tracks as a kid. Um, then about once All Star split up, my uncles started to run regular at Flamborough. That was just what they did. Um, and then actually Ken Spira got himself a mini stock. And I had shown minimal interest. I would go to the races and watch. Like I just didn't really care. I wasn't like trying to be involved. I didn't really have a clue. Um, but I asked if I could. I asked Ken if I could try driving it, and he said yes. So we'd go out on like Flamber's Tuesdays, and I will never forgive him for it, but I will never forget it. But he made me do like, because obviously I was 13 and he made me do like figure eights around garbage cans in the pits, just teaching me standard.
That's awesome.
Right. Like I knew nothing, right? Like I was 13. I didn't know how to drive. I knew nothing of the mechanics. So like he would sit, the mini I ran then it didn't have a ton of bars on the right side. It was still super safe, but he could actually sit beside me. So he would sit beside me and we'd drive around the pits. And once I kind of got the hang of standard, we went out on the track and he'd show me the line. And after that, he just kept kind of coaching me. Um, then that next season, that was the only season I raced not in my own car. I ran Ken's car. And the deal was I was sharing it with him and Dave Hagedorn for the year. So anytime it was an invitational, I'd let them run it because I was terrified. Um, and yeah, I don't, nobody, they all kind of admitted it now. They never expected me to stick to it. They thought,
Really?
yeah, they didn't really think I was too into it. They thought I was just, because that was right around the time they were building a mini stock for Dale. Dale and I are the same age, so it was kind of, well, he's doing it. Sam probably wants to just try. And it stuck. So that winter, after racing Ken's car for the season, they built my car, which my brother still has. Original car, never been changed.
Really?
Yep, yep,
Wow.
still her. It looks a lot different, but she's still the same car.
Updates every year. Updates, right?
No,
No?
unbend it, change the body panel, go. Like it's fine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like that was it. Yeah, it was from then on. I ran minis at Flamborough, and first year, like anytime the late model traveled, they were taking Dale and I somewhere. That was something they were very, I don't want to say insistent on, because if we said we didn't want to go, they wouldn't make us, but they did have us travel a lot. And I know in the years since Dale and I have chatted and kind of said that like traveling makes you better. Like I remember a race at, we took our cars to Sauble, and there was a time early 2000s when Flamborough rules were about 5 years behind all the other tracks for mini stocks
Yeah.
because Flamborough still had these street tires that I think were worse than what bone stocks are running now. Like we couldn't do any updates, no change. Like it was wild. Like I even had a stock Mustang single barrel carburetor on it.
Oh, jeez.
Like this is how we were.
It was the original Bone Stocks. Let's
Honest,
remember this.
it was, but all the other tracks were actually reasonably close to what the rules are now. They had already started opening them up. So Dale and I go, these two 14-year-olds with like barely a clue. Well, we got to play with each other all race because we were not even in the right zip code for everybody else, but we got to entertain each other. And we spent that whole race nose to tail. He'd go down the straightaway faster, I'd get through the corner faster, repeat for how I don't even remember how many laps it was, but we had fun doing that. And then yeah, it just kept progressing as the cars, got more advanced. We had advanced my car and I stayed at Flamborough, but would travel anytime I could. And then I switched to Sunset in 2014. So I spent from 2009 to 14 at Flamborough. From 14 on, I've been at Sunset. So.
And that's the thing is we always, even a lot of people come on here and say they always feel like they get better as they go to other tracks. And clearly that was the case. Even though you guys couldn't get up there with the fast guys to start off with because of the rules, but it's still good to get out there, make laps at another track because you can always go back to your home. I always felt like you could go back to your home track and you learn something new. And we see that with the dirt side with Cam Thompson as well. He goes runs Friday dirt in the crate sprint, and he feels like he's already 10 times better than he was the week before in his pure stock.
I mean, I feel like that's two very different driving
It
styles, but I
is.
know nothing about dirt. So, like I know in the, I obviously haven't traveled in the late model because traveling with that is a lot different than traveling with the
And
mini. Um, but
the
like,
work you put into it.
and just flat out the expense. I know everyone harps on it, but the expense of taking that car somewhere else is a lot. And I have one sponsor on the car. I pay for everything myself, so I do what I can, and that's we're having fun doing it, so we're not going to change it.
Eh,
But,
no- nothing wrong with having fun.
yeah, so yeah, it was just I loved going to other tracks. Flamborough gave me a mental toughness that I did not have when I started at all. And I remember my first couple races at Sunset, I would get close to it, like I'd get really like on someone's door. Like I wouldn't hit them, but I'd be close. Because Flamborough taught me if you leave a gap, someone's going through it.
Yep.
And I remember people at Sunset like asking me, like, why are you driving so close to me? And I remember I was so confused. Like, isn't this what we're supposed to do? Like I was a few years by the time I kind of got that one was confronted, I was a few years into it, so I didn't care as much, but it was just wild to me that someone thought I shouldn't be on their door. Like, oh, okay. Well, but
I think it's partially the etiquette because each track is different.
yeah,
It if you go up it to a different track, the racing etiquette is different compared to your home track.
yeah,
And because yeah, at Flamborough, if you leave a gap, someone's going for it.
yeah,
It we every week we see that.
yeah.
But you go to Sunset, you can be a little. I feel like you could be a little bit more patient to make a move. I know sometimes you can, not all the time.
It depends who's there, honestly. Like some of the races we had in 2019, that was my last like big season, the last big one in minis. Like we had one race where, I think it was on a Sunday. It was a big money race. Like me, Eric Della Riva, Ryan Bavin, Eric York, like just this insane field. Like you leave a gap, someone's going through it. Like it, no question. Even if there's not a gap, someone's going. And that was racing, right? Like I find it's a lot different, like watching my brother run the car now. Like there's been so much change in the mini stock division. It's not the same division I ran in just a couple of years ago, which is
Yeah.
wild. Even Flamborough, the division's totally turned on its head from what it was when I was there regularly, or even in my last regular times in the mini. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just different. They run differently, they do different stuff than what I did. So as much as I try to help Blaze and tell him like what I did to get around the tracks, I can't always help with the how you deal with certain people because it's changed. But
We all know it changes from year to year. People leave the division, and new people come in. Um, and sometimes people drive over their heads, and some people. Like, we all know that, right? There's people who maybe shouldn't be behind the wheel, or should be learning a little bit more before trying to jump up on against guys who've been racing the division for 5-10 years. If it's your first race, learn a little bit before you start really being competitive.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, you see it week in and week out. I've someone who's never only been behind the wheel of a race car once, and that was in a practice session. You can, but the amount of times I've visited other tracks and been to Flamborough and watched it week in and week out, you can see the evolution of what happens on track
yep,
each year. And it's people that come in, it's people that leave.
yep,
There's always a different aspect. Like last year that we saw Mike Thompson win everything underneath the sun.
yep,
I think he's picked up his third victory of the year on Saturday.
yeah,
It's but we've had Matt Young, we've had um crap. Mm, I
Bobby.
d- yes, Bobby Mercer. I
Sean
I knew
Taylor
I
won
knew
some.
it was Jillian Hill's old car. That's all I
Yeah,
remembered.
yeah,
Uh, but like they've come back and they're putting on a clinic week in and week out,
yep,
and it's really made the regulars like Mike Thompson, Mike Gilmore, Caitlin Walls really have to step up their game.
yep,
Um, but that's we need that though.
yeah. You do. Yeah.
You need the villains to come in and take your thunder.
Yeah, you need someone to come in and shake it up and make you work harder. But
Because when it's easy to win, it's not as fun. It's fun to be at the top, but it's not as fun.
yeah,
You got to find that person who's going to keep you honest.
yep.
And
And
I
there's
think
nothing more fun than running with someone who you can trust. So, like,
yes,
I love running hard with people when I can trust them,
yeah,
right? There's like, it's hard to run like that with someone that I don't know what you're going to do next corner. I don't know what you did last corner. Like, that's very, very questionable. But when you can trust that, like, I've been racing, well, for example, Jordan House. I've been racing with that kid since we were both in minis. Like
yeah.
we ran Sunset together, now we're in prolates together, and this year hasn't been as great. Like I haven't had this pace that I like to, but I know that in general, Jordan will I can run side by side with him all day, and he's been great like that. And all of the guys in the late models seem to be pretty good that way. He's just the name I kind of found on the top of my head, but that is the most fun you can ever have. Even I know a lot of people said this last year after it, but the ringer that they had at Sunset Velocity last year,
Yep.
I have never had so much fun in a mini stock. Like I was back in my old car, but then Blair is in Sutcliffe's car, and Paul Maltese, who I run with weekly, was in Madison's car, and Nick Clark, like just all these guys that buddies, really. And like being able to throw those cars around and just be kind of wild with them. Apparently, it was very entertaining outside of the car. I was having a ball in the car because being able to drive them like that and know that the guys around you are totally gonna be fine, so much fun. So much fun.
And that's a good thing is when you're racing against a group of people that you can trust.
Yeah, that's what
Like
makes racing fun.
that's what makes it fun inside the car, and it makes it even better outside the car for all those people in the stands.
Yeah. Like if I have to tiptoe around somebody, it's not fun for me and it's probably not very fun to watch. Well, it might be fun to watch. That's what's happening. But like,
I was gonna say it depends on what's going on.
yeah. But for me inside the car, when I have to think that hard rather than just focus on like what I'm doing, and I also have to see what are you doing, that's very annoying for me. But
I can imagine.
yeah.
Um, it's obviously great seeing you move up from the mini stocks because I watched you at Flamborough. Once you guys left and run Sunset, kind of lost touch with how you guys were doing because obviously back then no videos,
Yep.
not a whole lot of social media updates. No one was really doing that whole social media kind of stuff. So obviously I lost touch with how well you were doing unless the track was posting. But obviously we do see the success um you've had over the years running at the track. Uh, if I'm tell me I'm wrong, you did. Yeah, I know you picked up a few feature wins over the year, right? Okay. When was your first one?
August 4th, 2012, Flamborough.
Holy crap.
You always
See.
remember your first.
You got that right. That's funny because that's like a oh like 3 weeks after I turned 20. So wow, that's impressive still. That you like but you never forget your first.
No.
So let's test you a little bit about it. Let's test you a little bit on it then. See if you see you remember the date. Let's see how you really remember. You could I don't even know. So this is gonna be fun. Who were you racing against in that race?
Dave Bailey, Billy Schwarzenberg,
Oh my God, that's already a stout field right there.
Russ Aiken, Mike Holmes, Wade Watson, Courtney Scott, I think, still had her mini then. I'm blanking on the. Oh, Josh Shantz was in it. He had his mini then. Mark De Silva, he had his car still.
Oh,
It
yep,
hasn't
yep.
started yet. Um, those are the ones I can remember. Allie Dittner. She, I think, was in
The
at the time.
61.
Yeah,
Yep.
she had the Celica, the purple thing. I don't remember if it was purple yet, but I know she was there. Um, that's honestly, those are what I can remember.
Now, what do you remember about that race?
I remember the lightning circling the racetrack because there was a storm coming.
So obviously the track was pushing through everything.
They let me have a victory lane, but it wasn't a very long one.
Yeah. So
And
in
I'm
car
pretty
then?
sure. Sorry?
Was it in car then, or just
Nope, no one even talked to me. I got to have pictures, and that was it.
that was okay? So
And they were not happy that we even did that.
really,
Yeah, I remember being yelled at. But yeah, the I think it actually started raining during the Thunder Cars. Like that, my race was the only one that got in that night.
oh,
Um, but yeah, it was my first one. I started. I think I started like mid pack. Like they did the invert thing, right? So
yeah,
I had been Bailey, Bailey and Billy were the top two, but I started like just ahead of them.
okay,
We were able to kind of work through the field together. I got out front first, I think just by luck. Like I think something happened and I was able to just get by because Flambeau's notorious for like holding the caution if they can. So
yeah.
I got out there. Bailey, Dave Bailey was actually running me down. He almost caught me. And then like a lap car spun or something happened, and Bailey, in an effort to avoid, actually got into the wall off of four because he was within a couple car lengths. I had a huge like over straightaway lead, and he had run me down. So he got into the wall. There actually ended up being a caution. So then I had to do a restart with Billy Schwarzenberg, who like was my teammate, but like no slouch. So, and then
Nope.
the row behind, I'm pretty sure was Russ Aiken and Mike Holmes. Um, and I was able. Billy actually almost cleared me on the start. He started on the outside lane. I was able to dig deep. And honestly, I've watched the video. Obviously, you watch all the videos. I'm lucky my family was there and thought to video it when I got out front. Um, but anybody that wasn't my teammate probably would have come down. He didn't. He left me like space. So I was able to get back up through underneath him and drive away again. So that was
Wow,
the first one. Yeah.
that is awesome. And when was your most recent feature win?
2018, 19. 19, I won a bunch at Sunset. I don't remember if I won anything during like the COVID kind of odd times. Like
Yeah,
I ran Flamborough and I did well at the Frosttoberfest one, but I didn't end up finishing great, which ran third the whole day.
yeah.
Um, but I think in like 2022, like I would randomly jump back and forth from the mini to the pro, and I think I won a
Yeah.
couple at Flamborough when I did it, just random off nights, but that would be it. So I
Okay.
want to say I think I won one last year in the mini at Flamborough, but that would be it.
I'm trying to remember now.
I know I beat Sean Taylor for it. There's a photo of me with a trophy. I just don't remember if it was last year or the year before.
Oh boy, how do you remember?
Like I actually want to say it was the year before.
In
It was the year we had.
2022?
I think it was the year we had NTN on the late model. Because
That w-
I had put them on the back of the mini as well. Yeah,
I want to say that was last year then. Did I
year
get up?
before, year before.
It was the year before. Yeah.
Yeah, because I left the mini mostly to Blaze last year. I didn't really hop in it at all. But
I had to think about that too because I didn't remember when I saw those NTN colors out there.
yeah, yes. They all start to blend together after a while.
Don't they really like
Yeah.
me and Jacqueline, me and my wife, we talk about this all the time because we there's times where we get so confused on when we she went to her first dirt race.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, and we're like, who drove down? Like that's our biggest concern is who drove down. And then what we did the next day. I remember we went to a dirt track on a Friday and then we went to another one on a Saturday. It
Right.
was like Humberstone or Maryville on a Friday. And then we drove to Southern Ontario down in Leamington or
Yep.
in Buxton there
Yep.
on Saturday night. And we argue about which dirt track we went to the Friday night. And I
Well,
still think I'm right, but I don't know. We don't know.
wouldn't it have been like, isn't Oshweekend the only one that runs on a Friday?
This was during 2021 when COVID was still going on and
Okay.
Oshwegan was shut down for the year.
Right. Because
So
I'm
I
thinking
can't,
like Merrittville doesn't usually run Fridays and Humberstone was
no.
by Sunday, weren't they?
Yeah.
I'm confused. Oh, well.
One of them, I remember we left out after a Friday. That's what we're getting at. Is they start that's 3 years ago. Things are
Yeah.
starting to blend together so much,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. And yeah,
Yeah.
life goes by too quick. Let's sorry for
Yeah.
the dark moment there, everyone. Uh, this year so far, it's been really good seeing you guys run in the pro lates. Obviously Shaw Motorsports has done very really well finishing the APC race back in May there 1 2 3 finish. Obviously you guys got to be happy with that as a team
Yeah.
knowing that three of your cars 1 2 3 perfect.
Yeah. Um, we were really, really proud of that day. Since then, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for us, but it was definitely nice to start the year on a mostly high note.
I was gonna
So,
say I let's because it didn't no yeah because Eric blew a motor that day.
Brandon,
Brandon, that's what it was. I don't know
right?
why I thought it was Eric.
That's okay. Brandon was in the actually my car, and it expired in practice on him, unfortunately. Yeah. So like that's why I say mostly high note because it
Yeah,
that really soured it for us. But that race was phenomenal. Spotting it was rough, a little tense, but it was good. It was nice to see Junior get his first win, have all the team cars there. Um, kind of, I wish the rest of the year had been going as well after starting like that because it's been pretty rough the last little bit for us. But
yeah, unfortunately.
so, we always are working on stuff, trying new things. We're forever talking racing and figuring out what's next. So, um, we're really hopeful that the guys are going to have a good run this week at Sauble. Junior obviously loves that place, and Eric's getting better and better there. So he really didn't have very many laps there. I don't think he had any laps there until he went in a pro late. So
Really?
yeah, he had his mini stock days, but he never, I think, managed to go to Sauble. He was supposed to go to that big invitational, but they had a motor issue.
Mm.
So he didn't go. And then the car got sold and he moved up to late models after that. So I think we should be good. I know Blair really likes it there, so hopefully he has a good run. He's having a phenomenal year, regardless of what's going on with the rest of the team. But yeah, we'll see. I'd like to get my program at Sunset just a little bit quicker, but I think we're starting to gain on it. I hope.
Well, what is it? Yeah, you guys are racing this coming Sunday
Yeah,
at Sunset.
yeah,
Um, which is awesome because I'll be there. I'll be there recording another race day vlog. So, um, those are always fun. I'm sorry. Uh, because it's great. It's great when I'm able to go to other tracks and be able to watch drivers like yourself and a lot of these other drivers who I don't always get to see. Like this is gonna be my second and probably final trip up to Sunset this year, unfortunately. Um, but like my wife, she absolutely loves the track.
yeah,
She she loves the racing. It's great quality. Um, but it's good to see that you're trying to get your program better to be more competitive. Because I'm wearing my Junior Hanley shirt right now, from last year.
Yeah.
This was not a coincidence of wearing this shirt today. It just I was like, oh, that's what I packed last night when I was at Sawwell. Well, that's what I'm wearing today then. Um, but I think last year you finished third in that race, correct?
Yeah.
Which obviously is a big accomplishment in a prestigious race just such as that. Um, how did it feel for you to get on the podium even at for the first Junior Hanley Classic?
Um, I still kind of can't believe it happened, to be honest. Like I qualified 23rd. Nobody thought I was having that kind of day. Like we were not being talked about at all. And it's normally a status I'm very comfortable with. But um like I've always been better, even in the mini stock, I was pretty good at long runs, never been overly aggressive. So it just kind of worked out. The car was perfect. I managed to stay out of trouble. I look at it now and I think the early cautions really helped. They kept the field pretty close. So I was able to pick off, cars kind of methodically, was able to not go any laps down, all that good stuff. And then by the time the break happened, I had barely used any of the car. I really saved it because I was near all these cars that forced me to, I couldn't go as fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kept going. Again, very methodical. I made a couple mistakes off one restart. Um, but I still remembered that I think I made the pass into fourth. I think it was when I passed for fourth. My spotter's voice kind of went up a couple of notes. She was a little surprised. Um, so I could hear her getting excited. So it's yeah, we just kept going. I kind of I kind of didn't want the final restart, right? Like I think I actually could have gotten the 54 if we didn't have it because I was running him down and I'm not great on the short runs. So that let him obviously catch back up to Dale. He was good on the short runs. But regardless, like way better than I thought I was gonna do. So was riding on that cloud all winter. It's a great winter to have that, but this season has been very, very sobering for me. So,
What do you feel like that you need to do to your program to get it to that next level to get back to where you were last year for that Junior Hanley?
so what's really annoying is the car has had the exact setup I had that day in it all year. It's exactly the same. Um, we did try some different shocks. We tried this weekend, we changed a few other things, and it just isn't quite behaving the way it did. I don't
Okay.
know if it's track, if it's me, if the pace has changed. We are on a different compound this year. It's a different tire, so it's
Yep.
harder. I don't know if that's simply what it is. I have no idea. Um, so we've been tweaking small stuff because it's close. Um, but again, I've never been one for raw speed. So it's more just trying to get it to drive on long runs like it used to. And yeah, there's so many things you can change, so many things you can do to these cars that it's so hard to decide which way to go
Yeah.
and what to change, what to do. Like we're a tenth off, maybe 2/10 off if I really want to be honest. But that in these fields is tons.
Yeah.
It it's a lot. So we're chasing singular tenths of seconds, but I just have to figure out what I need.
And I guess that's the fun part with these cars is you can make a small adjustment and the reaction on the car will be so big. Whereas you can make a big change to the car and it'll make a small reaction. It's just trying to find that sweet spot kind of thing.
The biggest thing with changes is every change is will have both positive and a negative effect. You help one part of the corner, it's going to hurt another. So that's kind of what you're trying to balance is how do you get it to do all of the things without sacrificing something. So like Sunset's very obviously the corners are very, very, very tight. You need the car to turn, but you need the car not to use your right rear tire.
Yeah.
Balancing those two things is very, very challenging. Um, Both as a driver and as crew. We've been going back and forth for, well, the whole season, even though I've only run 3, 4 races now. Um, just
Thank
trying to
you,
figure
Mother
out,
Nature.
right, yeah. Just trying to figure out what the heck to change, what it needs, what it wants. This weekend it was really comfortable in second practice, so I'm hoping in the short race on Sunday it'll be good, but I'm sure we'll figure something out to try. That's not like us to not change something.
Well, it's good thing though that you guys aren't afraid to try to get better. And that's I guess that's the one thing I've always noticed about um yourself, Dale, Jason, everyone. Like I've always watched you guys and no matter what, it always felt like you guys were never happy with the car.
We're not.
Yeah. It you know what? You just help me out there. You guys have never been happy with your cars. I remember going to Flamborough when Dale was running late models there, and every time I walked by, there was always something going on. Didn't matter what. Didn't matter if when I because back before we had Race Monitor, we had the stopwatches, right? So if you were lucky enough to have the two stopwatch clipboard, you were timing one person with one, and you were timing your driver with another, and then trying to write down all the times before they got around in 15 seconds at the track.
Yeah.
Um, and no, if we noticed that, let's say Dale was quicker over 5 laps compared to David, I'd look down and there they are jacking up, trying to find out how I'm like, you guys are really good. You guys are beating our guy by like 2/10 over here. Like, settle down, please.
Nope. I'll settle.
Which is good though. That's what we like to. That's what I like to see. I like to see teams who are able to always want to get better.
There is a downside to it because it is very easy to adjust yourself out of contention.
Yeah.
So it's something we struggle to find is we always want to change something. It's not necessarily something we should do, but um, it is what it is. We were always like that in the mini stock, just changing something every time. Just find something, find more. How can you make it better? What can you do? Late models are a little bit more technical just because tires come into play so much and track
Yeah.
down. But yeah, that's that's always been us. So it is great to have everyone around. I bounce ideas off Blair, my dad, Uncle Jake, Dale. Like they're all there and they're all great. But there's also a lot of brains, a lot of thinking going on.
There's
Uh,
years of knowledge right there.
yeah. So there's a
I,
lot
I'd
of
sorry. There's centuries of knowledge when you tie it all the years together.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, so there's some big conferences that go on about what we should do and what all that stuff. So I will never complain about the people around me. They're all phenomenal. Um, but yeah, it can be sometimes a lot to try to figure out what we want to do just because again, there's so many options.
Absolutely. Um, Before we continue on here, I do want to ask you. This is going to be a little fun question. We're gonna have two questions here. One, because my co-host Megan is in here tonight. One of her favorite questions to ask people is, why do you choose to run the number you run? You've always run the 81. Now you're into the 82. Why? What? Why do you choose the numbers you want to run? How about that?
So the 81 obviously was Grandpa's. I chose that one for him. They all really wanted me when I started in minis to choose the number 8 because then we could simply cut the 2 off Jason's numbers and that was it. No more buying decals. But the year I started, someone registered the number 8. And I don't think he ever showed up, but he'd show up at registration and register for the number 8 every year. And to this day, I don't remember ever seeing him. I don't even remember his name.
I was gonna ask. That was going to be the next part. There is if you remember the name.
No idea. But I don't remember ever actually seeing him race. But he always registered the number 8, so I couldn't have it. So I got to pick a number because, well, there was already a 2, there was already an 8. So I guess you're picking your own numbers, Sam. So that was when I said I wanted to be 81. We had to go buy numbers. Um, and then, I was 83 for the year I shared the car with
Yep.
Dale. I was 44 my first year in late models because I was running Steve Laking's car. That's his number.
Yep.
And then now I'm in the 82, and we'll just stick with the brutal honesty. It's 82 because we have about 10 years worth of 82 decals sitting at home.
Do you really?
Yeah. They're all in a cupboard. I think I think I have one more with the yellow outline, and then we got to switch colors, but there's lots.
Are any like the old Spira colors though?
Yeah. There's lots.
Really?
Yeah. Remind me to send you a photo. There's a bunch
Yeah.
in there.
Oh my God. Sorry, because that's when I got into the late model realm was when Jake was running or Jason, sorry, was running the 82 in the late models and the Spire car, the horse coming down the side. So I always remember that
Yeah.
style. That's the one that resonates with me the most. Um that's hysterical. Jesus.
So I'm pretty sure the yellow that's on my car, I think those actually predate the car you're thinking about.
Okay.
Like they're older. There's one, do you remember when it was like he had a teal outline? The horse was like dark green and then we had like a bright green around it.
Oh, that might have been oh, I don't I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
I may have to find a picture of the card out
Yeah.
to mentally remember.
Yeah. So all like I said, all the numbers were just extra ones that got ordered throughout the years. They've got varying outlines on them, so they're all in the corner.
That is awesome. Uh, Jesus Christ. I
Yep.
didn't. I only ever noticed like if like when I crewed for guys, it was just like, hey, we ruin a set of numbers. Okay, we order the numbers. Like we order as we need them. We don't stack and save kind of deal.
Yeah, well, back in like the All-Star type days, they
Yeah,
had like tons and tons of decals, and like that car looked show ready every time. So there was stockpiles of stuff saved just to be able to patch it up and go. And it works out for us now. We just kind of use use stuff as we need it. Works good.
hey, nothing wrong with it. I didn't get into racing until about '07, '08, so it was just at the end of the Weekend Warrior series. So I never got a chance to really see the All-Star series,
Yeah.
but with um with my mom's husband being Ed Askin,
Okay.
I've heard
Yep.
I heard stories.
I'm sure you did.
I heard tons of stories.
Yep.
Um Ed, Ed. He's been around the CVMs, been around the late malls. He's been with David. That's how I got involved with David Elliott.
Gotcha.
Um,
That makes sense.
is because when my mom and him got together, I was like, hey, you, can I help? I want to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the stories that I kind of wish I got to go to those events and watch those races because now because then I feel like I could have more of appreciation now of what we got in Ontario if I got to see some of that as well. You
Yeah.
know, I got into it when I was 16. I'm now like about 15, 16. No, 14. Now I'm 32.
Right.
So like I'm lacking 15-ish years of racing knowledge
Yeah.
that I have to scour through the internets for, right? So um it's kind of cool that you're able to get to live through that and see that. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit jealous of that.
I mean, I really only remember the last year of All Star because I
Yeah.
was like 12 when it stopped. So I was not. I was there for like they'd wake me up to go down when Jake won. That's about it. Like I was notorious for sleeping in the grandstands. Um, but yeah, like I all the camping trips we'd go on big long like bike rides and just like we do everything as a family. We still do, but now there's just more race cars involved because all the kids are in them. But yeah, like I wish I had more appreciation for the racing now that I'm truly involved in it.
Yeah,
Back then, obviously, I wasn't, but I've seen lots of videos. I hear all the stories. I remember some of it, but yeah, it's really cool to have that history.
absolutely it is. And we need to find a way to preserve more of that because when we lose tracks, we kind of feel like we lose some of that of that history of racing.
Yeah.
Um, but Sam, it has been first of all, this interview went extremely well. Um, it has been an absolute blast having you on for the last hour. We're gonna let you go in a few minutes. Uh, but I'm gonna let you know this right now. I intend on bringing you back if you would like to join us again for another episode. Um, because I feel like there's so much more we can talk about. I didn't get to half of what I mentally had prepared. Nothing wrong with that. That means if you're open to it, we'd love to have you back on for another episode.
Yeah, for sure. Just let me
Uh,
know.
absolutely. But of course, before we let you go, you will have the next few minutes. You can thank everyone and anyone from a family member that traveled across in a boat at one point, um, to a dog you had when you were 2 that ran away, to your to a future pet you may have, to future relatives, whatever, sponsors, anyone, you name it. The floor is now yours.
Well, thank you for having me on. It was really fun. I have to thank obviously my family, my dad, my uncle, Dale, his wife Katrina. She's my spotter every week. She worked in the heat with me all day today on that car. Blair, he has puts up with my annoyingness on race day. Actually, after his car broke last night, he came out on the break to try to help me more, which was great. My brother, just like the whole family. Tina, Grandma, Grandpa Shaw, never miss a race. Um, little Peyton, Dale's daughter, she is always there, very involved, even if it's just to give us fake ice cream. she, she's fine. It's fine. Um, then just all the friends and family I've made throughout racing. The Maltese family, all my friends at Sunset, the Sunset Speedway staff have always welcomed me with open arms, and I'll never be able to thank them enough for keeping the beautiful track I love to run on open. Um, all the fans that support week in and week out. Yeah, let's see what happens this weekend.
Now, where can they find you guys on social media to stay up to date with your racing career, Shaw Motorsports? Where can they find you guys?
So Shaw Motorsports, the team has a Facebook page, Shaw Motorsports. There is an Instagram page for them under the same name. Personally, I am kind of terrible at social media stuff. My personal page, I'll post some stuff, I'll share things. The same with Instagram. I just kind of post when I want. I never really got on the social media bandwagon. I can function on it, but I don't know how to do all the promotional stuff. That's really not my alley. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
If you need any help,
I need someone to just take my phone and do it all because I'm not gonna remember. Just I'm not that's not on the top of my head when I'm racing.
you know what? How about this? You stay on the line. We'll chat about it for a couple minutes, okay?
All right.
All right. Uh, but it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this week on the True North Racing podcast, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and that we're back from our conversation with Sam Shaw. We had a blast chatting with her, and I didn't get a chance to get to half of what I wanted to talk about mentally. There was so much more. I'm hoping to have her back on at a later time. Who knows? Maybe this year, maybe next year. We'll see what the rotation will look like. But it was a blast. I love it when we get to talk to racers who love talking racing. And we get a lot of that. And it's nice to see the passion from these drivers, because that's why we love doing the show is we love seeing the passion from these drivers, because that is what people need to hear or people need to see, in my opinion. Again, you can tell me if I'm wrong. Inbox is open. Message me. Tell me I'm wrong. But yeah, it was great having her on. We hope to have her back on again. They've been having an up and down season, so I hope the best for her in the second half of the season here as we wrap up next 2 months here of racing. Next weekend, guys, I will be at Sunset Speedway on Sunday for the Flying Frank 49 at Sunset Speedway. We'll be back again, once again, with Roy Wilkie in the 33 Super Stock. It's gonna, hopefully we'll see how he's doing since the last time we were there. Get a bunch of new footage for you guys. It's gonna be a blast. I love Sunset. This is my second and possibly final trip this year. More than likely it'll be my final trip this year, but yeah, it's Sunset's just one of those tracks that really hit home. It's such a beautiful facility. The Toddish family does a great job running it. Brandon Doherty, Spencer Lewis do a great job promoting. Brandon does a great job announcing. The pieces are all there, and it's such a great facility to go to. I'm looking forward to getting back. If there is, I will have Lift the Visor stickers. So if you didn't see me back on July 6th and you want some Lift the Visor stickers, please reach out to me. I will have them on hand. They'll be in my backpack. I will bring them. They will be there. Just ask how many you need. All we're asking for is a donation to Change for Change. The QR code will be attached to them. So it's easy, quick and easy to be able to get the funds to that charity. Or if you guys are looking for Lift the Visor stickers and maybe I can't get them to you, reach out to Lift the Visor on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and Jory will get them sent off to you. And I got to send out a big, I got to say a big congratulations to Jory Elliott. He's been back racing dragsters again. He's been doing a phenomenal job. I saw him pick up a W, over the whole weekend, a couple weeks ago. I super proud of the guy. He's an awesome dude. Super proud of everything he's accomplished, and I'm happy to see him back in a dragster. I've always wanted to watch him because we talked about it on his first time on the show, and it was a lot of fun chatting with him about it and how he got into everything. So, Jory, congratulations, buddy. We love you. But yeah, other than that, guys, I don't have too much more to talk about tonight on the True North Racing podcast. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you to all our sponsors, Driving with Haley for bringing us the show, Pat's Pro Painting for bringing us our opening segment, Tailored to You Media Design for our fan question period, and Graphic Design Studio for bringing us our guest segment. We do have a partnership announcement coming out soon. Just got to finalize a few things, so you guys will be hearing that in the coming weeks. So, I got of course, thank you to all our partners who make this show possible, who make A Day at the Races possible. You guys are all amazing. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for allowing me to do what I love to do. Make sure you guys follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, as well as dronemedia.ca to stay up to date on everything going on with us and where you guys can find us over the course of the final couple months here of racing. But that's going to do it for us for episode 144 of the True North Racing podcast. We'll see you guys next week on episode 145. Bye now.
Smell the gas and feel the vibe. Going into overdrive. Drop the flag, then the car zooming by. Hey, True North Racing. Let's go.